Content warning. This story involves themes of violence and may not be suitable for children or sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. In a peaceful Los Angeles suburb, the sun casts a warm glow over the neatly lined houses. Among them lives a family that appears perfect on the outside, but hidden beneath the surface are tensions that will soon lead to a heartbreaking betrayal. Before we delve into today's gripping tale of hidden envy and tragic betrayal, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Your support allows us to bring you more captivating stories every week. If you enjoy unraveling mysteries and exploring deep human emotions, give this video a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Mark and Linda were the picture of a devoted couple. Mark, a successful architect, often worked late to provide for the family, while Linda, a schoolteacher, balanced her career with managing the household. Despite their busy lives, they always made time for family dinners, where laughter and conversation flowed easily, or so it seemed. Their daughter, Emily, was the pride of the family. She excelled in everything she did, from bringing home straight A's to starring in school plays and volunteering in the community. Her parents couldn't help but beam with pride at her achievements, often sharing her successes with friends and neighbors. In contrast, their son Michael was quieter and more reserved. Unlike his sister, who thrived in the spotlight, Michael preferred the solitude of his room, where he spent hours drawing and exploring photography. Though Mark and Linda loved Michael dearly, they often overlooked how their constant praise of Emily affected him. As Emily's accomplishments continued to overshadow Michael's quieter achievements, feelings of inadequacy and jealousy began to take root in his heart. On the surface, family life seemed harmonious, but subtle signs of tension were beginning to emerge. During dinner, Mark and Linda would discuss Emily's latest awards with enthusiasm, while Michael sat silently, pushing his food around his plate. Even when Emily tried to help Michael with his schoolwork, he would withdraw further, feeling more patronized than supported. As Emily and Michael transitioned into adulthood, their differences became even more apparent. Emily was accepted into a prestigious university where she continued to excel academically, quickly adapting to college life. She became involved in numerous extracurricular activities while maintaining a perfect GPA. During this time, she also began dating Daniel, a fellow student who shared her passion for social causes. Their relationship blossomed, and they soon became inseparable. Daniel, handsome and charming, came from a wealthy family. He seemed the perfect match for Emily, always supportive, loving, and by her side. They attended events together, volunteered at charities, and often shared glimpses of their picture-perfect relationship on social media. To their friends and family, Emily and Daniel were the epitome of a power couple destined for success. Meanwhile, Michael's life took a different direction. After struggling through high school, he decided against college and instead took a job at a local electronics store. Despite his natural talent for photography, Michael felt increasingly like an outsider in a family that valued academic success above all else. His passion for photography became a solitary pursuit, something his parents didn't fully understand or appreciate. As he watched Emily's life unfold in stark contrast to his own, Michael's resentment grew. Emily's social media presence only amplified his sense of inadequacy. Each post, every picture of Emily and Daniel enjoying life together, reminded him of what he lacked. He withdrew further into himself, spending long hours alone, editing photos that no one ever saw. In the summer of 2011, two hikers, Sarah and Ben, decided to spend a weekend exploring a remote forest area outside the city. As they ventured deep into the woods, they relished the peace and quiet until they stumbled upon a secluded clearing. Initially, the place seemed serene, with sunlight filtering through the trees and birds chirping in the distance. But as they walked further into the clearing, something unusual caught their attention. A strange mound, covered with leaves and branches. Driven by curiosity, they began to clear away the debris, only to uncover something chilling: the partially buried body of a young woman. Her clothes were torn, and her body showed signs of decomposition, suggesting she had been dead for several days. The scene was eerily silent, save for the distant sound of sirens as the police arrived and cordoned off the area. The detectives noted the absence of blood at the scene, indicating the woman had been killed elsewhere and her body dumped in the clearing. Her fingers were damaged, as if someone had tried to remove her fingerprints, making identification difficult. The meticulous effort to obscure the victim's identity suggested a calculated and cold-blooded killer. Detectives Jane and Tom took charge of the case. The forensic team worked tirelessly to recover any clues from the body. Despite the damage to her fingers, they managed to recover partial fingerprints. After running them through the database, the victim was identified as Emily, who had been reported missing by her parents 2 weeks earlier. The detectives arrived at Mark and Linda's home to deliver the devastating news. The house was quiet, with Linda in the kitchen preparing dinner. As she opened the door to the detectives, her heart sank. Inviting them in, they sat together in the living room, where Linda heard the unimaginable. Emily's body had been found. The weight of the news hit her like a tidal wave, leaving her stunned and struggling to comprehend what she was hearing. Mark, who had been working in his home office, rushed into the room upon hearing Linda's cries. The realization of what had happened overwhelmed him, leaving him in a state of shock. In the background, Michael stood silently, his expression unreadable. Although the detectives noticed his lack of reaction, the overwhelming grief and chaos of the moment led them to push the thought aside. But something about Michael's demeanor lingered in the back of Jane's mind as the family began to mourn. As the investigation unfolded, the detectives quickly focused on Emily's boyfriend, Daniel. He had been the last person to see her alive, and witnesses reported that the couple had been arguing in the days leading up to her disappearance. Friends of Emily spoke of Daniel's growing jealousy of Emily's success, feeling increasingly overshadowed by her achievements. One friend recalled a particularly heated argument at a party where Daniel had voiced his frustrations over Emily's focus on her studies and volunteer work, feeling that she was neglecting their relationship. As the detectives dug deeper into Daniel's background, they discovered his insecurities about his future. Unlike Emily, who was driven and focused, Daniel had struggled to find his path, frequently changing his major and still unsure of his career goals. The more Emily succeeded, the more Daniel felt left behind. When brought in for questioning, Daniel admitted to the argument, but insisted that they had made up afterward. He claimed to have been at home alone during the time of Emily's disappearance, but with no witnesses to confirm his alibi, the detectives grew suspicious. The evidence seemed to point toward Daniel, leading to his arrest on suspicion of murder. The media quickly seized on the story, portraying Daniel as a jealous and controlling boyfriend who couldn't handle Emily's success. The public was outraged, believing that justice was being served. Yet behind the scenes, Jane and Tom weren't entirely convinced. Something about the case just didn't add up, leading them to wonder if the real killer was still at large. While Daniel sat in jail awaiting trial, the detectives continued their investigation. Meanwhile, Michael grew increasingly withdrawn, avoiding his family and spending long hours away from home. He abruptly quit his job and began selling off his photography equipment without explanation. Linda became concerned as she noticed Michael's increasingly erratic behavior. One day, while tidying his room, she found a shirt with faint bloodstains on it. Initially, she rationalized the discovery, assuming it might be from a minor injury. But when she mentioned it to Michael, his uncharacteristic anger and insistence that she stay out of his room startled her, leading her to suspect something was seriously wrong. Alarmed, Linda shared her concerns with Mark, and they decided to search Michael's room more thoroughly. Hidden in the back of his closet, they found a small box containing disturbing items, a torn photograph of Emily with Michael's face scratched out, and a diary filled with entries expressing deep-seated jealousy and anger towards his sister. As they read through the diary, a chilling picture emerged. Michael had harbored resentment towards Emily for years, feeling overshadowed by her achievements. The entries detailed his growing hatred, his feelings of worthlessness, and an obsession with proving himself. Mark and Linda were devastated by the discovery. They realized that the son they thought they knew was harboring something dark and dangerous. Torn between protecting Michael and seeking justice for Emily, they knew they had to confront him. Mark and Linda arranged to meet Michael at a neutral location, hoping to get him to open up. They expressed their concerns, gently urging him to tell them the truth about what had happened to Emily. At first, Michael denied everything, insisting they were overreacting. But as they continued to press him, his defenses began to crumble. Finally, with tears in his eyes, Michael confessed to the crime. Years of feeling unseen and overshadowed by his sister had finally boiled over. On the night of her death, Michael confronted Emily in a fit of rage. The confrontation escalated quickly, and in the heat of the moment, Michael pushed Emily, causing her to hit her head on the corner of a table. Panicking, he realized his parents would never forgive him, so he decided to cover up the crime. He moved Emily's body to the secluded clearing in the woods, damaged her fingers to delay identification, and buried her in a shallow grave. Mark and Linda were horrified by Michael's confession. They were torn between their love for their son and the knowledge that he was responsible for their daughter's death. After a long and tearful discussion, they knew they could not keep this terrible secret. They contacted the detectives and revealed everything. Detectives Jane and Tom arrived at the Thompson home to take Michael into custody. He offered no resistance, silently allowing the detectives to handcuff him and lead him away. As he was driven off, Mark and Linda stood in the doorway, holding each other, weeping for the loss of both their children. Daniel was exonerated and released from jail, but the experience had deeply shaken him. He struggled to comprehend how the family he had been so close to could harbor such dark secrets. The media, which had once vilified him, now shifted its focus to Michael, the forgotten son, who had been driven to murder by years of festering jealousy. The Thompson family's once idyllic life was shattered beyond repair. Mark and Linda attended court hearings, their faces etched with sorrow and guilt. Unable to bear the memories of the place where their children had grown up, they sold their family home. The community was stunned by the revelations. Neighbors who had once admired the Thompsons for their seemingly perfect family life were now filled with shock and disbelief. How could such a tragedy have unfolded right under their noses? Media coverage delved into the dynamics of sibling rivalry, exploring how unchecked jealousy can lead to devastating consequences. Psychologists provided expert commentary discussing the importance of recognizing and addressing emotional distress within families. The story ended with a poignant reflection. In our pursuit to nurture success, did we overlook the silent cries of our own child? Psychologists and family therapists discussed the underlying issues that may have contributed to the tragedy. They emphasized that sibling rivalry, if left unaddressed, can fester and grow into something dangerous. Parents were urged to pay attention to the emotional needs of all their children, not just the ones who achieved the most visible success. The chapter also highlighted the importance of open communication within families, encouraging parents to create an environment where children feel safe to express their feelings and where issues of jealousy and resentment can be addressed before they spiral out of control. The episode concluded with a call to action for parents and caregivers to be vigilant about the emotional well-being of their children and to seek professional help if they noticed any signs of distress. The Thompson family story serves as a haunting reminder of the unseen battles that can rage within a home. It's a call to awareness, urging viewers to be attentive to their loved ones' emotional well-being and to address mental health issues before they spiral out of control. We invite you to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments and encourage you to subscribe for more stories that delve deep into the human psyche. Thank you for watching.